Alright, so today I'm interviewing Mr. Malcolm Vaughn, who is coming with a new collection of short stories, Water or Acid, question mark, available on Amazon.
Yes, sir.
Is that the only place?
For now, yeah, and then I'll have it in paperbacks sometime soon, I think, within the next week probably. But for right now, I just want to get it live, so that's where I'm at in the process.
Nice. So, first question. Tell us a little bit about what got you into writing or why you decided to write.
Okay. Let's see. My mom was a teacher for like the longest time, and then one day she decided that she didn't want to teach kids anymore, and her and my stepdad decided to write a children's book, and I guess they learned the ins and outs of how to put it on Amazon and how to market it, and it wasn't terribly difficult. And so after that, they decided to go with romance novels and try and go from there. So so they showed me that it was economically viable, I guess you'd say, to publish your own stuff and go through Amazon and stuff like that. So the idea of being a writer became this reachable or attainable like reality. So I was like, oh well, I got a few stories rattling around in my head. What if I put them on paper? And that was so I guess just because of my.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to publish on Amazon, or to be in control of kind of your own publishing situation?
Yeah, it's well, this is the very first time, so the process is insanely easy. It's just a few clicks. And you can always sort of go back and manipulate it, so it's not too difficult a thing to manage. So from that aspect of just putting it up, super easy. I think, as it always is, it's the whole writing the story out. That's always gonna, no matter what, be your most difficult thing. So yeah, I think pretty simple stuff, pretty easy, and super accessible though. So I like that it takes probably under 20 minutes. You know, if you've got something ready to go and you don't know where to put it, or you've been shopping it around and it hasn't been working out because it takes, 3 to 6 months to hear back from, publishers, and this is instant, and you just put a little money on Facebook, and so you can kind of promote it yourself. Okay. So it just takes, I guess, that, like, learning the ins and outs of promoting it, really.
Yeah.
And that really fun, really easy.
Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit about your this collection of short stories? Like, what was the inspiration behind it?
The inspiration was I decided to get a literature and writing degree for some odd reason, and then I graduated and it became void upon accepting my diploma. So, but yeah, I was like, well, I'm gonna make this work, and I'd written a few, like maybe 1 or 2 stories that had actually shown people, like my dad, and they said, hey, you're really good, you should do it. And I was always like, no, I'm terrible. But and that kind of just sort of grew on itself. I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm kind of okay at this. And then eventually it was, okay, either do this or don't do it. And so this is, like, after I graduated, it was like, let's just do it. You have the time. It's kind of like, I guess, anybody else would think of, like, traveling or going abroad or something like that, where it's like, I can do this now, I can take the risk kind of thing. But I still have, like, a respect and appreciation for, like, the whole craft aspect of it that I'm still learning. So as far as, like, the whole motivation, I guess it's just, like I said, that whole building on and of itself of me wanting to do this, but always having some reservation up until this point where I said, just do it or don't do it. So I went all in on it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess at some point that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
Either gonna jump and sink or swim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So, I have gotten the chance to read a few of these stories. Which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite, or are they all like your children's?
Let's see. I definitely like the very first story, Eat the Elephant, just because it was something I didn't write that one thinking it's going to go into a collection. It was just after so many, I guess, months of not writing and just being like, okay, I need to, you know, get to the keys and start writing something like that weird itch that you get, you know, that hobby that you have, and then you stop doing it, and then you have to come back to it, and you're like, you come back with a vengeance, you know, and that's exactly what the story's kind of about. So I do like that one just because it was sort of, I guess, organic. Okay. It just sort of sprang out of, you know, and then the Acid or Water, the title one, was actually one where it was probably the first time where I kind of plotted everything out, and then as I was writing it, I was happy with, like, after each stave that I did. It's kind of chunky the way it's written, but it's meant to be that way. And so I kind of like, hey, this is taking form. I could maybe do this. Okay. So yeah, those two are right about now. Yeah, those are the ones I could definitely stand next to and be like, this is unassailable. You know. Yeah,
those are definitely the two that,
or at least they stand out. Yeah.
So throughout the collection, or what I've read, there are some that are kind of science fiction-y, and then some, a lot that aren't. Yeah. So is there any, I mean, it'd be hard to kind of say this is any sort of genre. It's kind of a mixture of all these things. Or is that something that you kind of do on purpose, or is that just kind of organically how they all came together?
Yeah, no, just because this is the first thing that I was doing, and I have a very eclectic taste in terms of, I guess, interests, but also, like, the stuff that I've read. I don't like just science fiction, and I don't like just, you know, or like an action-adventure spy or something like that. And I love it when authors play with the form and stuff like that and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to try all of it and see what I'm good at. Maybe somebody, and I think you can do that with short story collections versus whole novels, because you have to, you know, really examine and take to task something, you know, in a novel. Versus short stories, you can do that, but you can also have it manifest in a bunch of different ways. So I can talk about anything, and I can do, you know, a story about loss and make it horror. I can make it romance. I don't know why I would do romance, but that'd be kind of interesting. But science fiction, you know, I can go through all the genres, you know. But yeah, there wasn't any other reason than I'm just kind of a scatterbrain, and I can't focus on one particular thing before I get bored with it, and I have to move on.
Well, I think it's interesting. I think some of like the better contemporary short story collections are like that. Like 10th of December by George Saunders is like that. There's a couple really science fiction-y ones, a couple that are more funny. Yeah. Which, speaking of which, some of the stories, there's one is that Electric Discharge. Yeah. Is hilarious. So when you write humor, because there's humor in a lot of these stories, do you write it? I guess my question is, are you like writing a joke like a comedian would, or is it organically kind of how you would react to a situation?
I wish I could write like a comedian. Honestly, I've actually been listening to some comedians and then be like, okay, so this is how the joke goes. You take something and then an exaggeration and then blah blah blah. But no, I wasn't going into it in depth like that, like a comedian would. It was just really just sort of either a play on words, like a pun, like how much can I stretch a pun? Let's start small. Puns are easy, everybody get those. Something costs an arm and a leg. I did Disgusting Society off of that one, you know. So it's just like a simple, almost universally known joke or something like that. But yeah, there's not. I don't break it down like a comedian would. Although I would definitely want to learn how to do that or try with that. But yeah, no, it's just like a really simple idea. And I want to just stick with simple humor, because humor's, you know, no matter how funny you think you are, it's always very difficult to write, at least. Yeah. So yeah, just small comedic ideas, and then just kind of like let that have its day on the page.
Okay. It comes across. A lot of them are very funny. So here's a question. I think I'm not much of a writer, but I know a lot of the people who watch my videos and who are in the community. They like to write, or they're trying to write. Yeah. So what is your writing process like? And like, what do you suggest, or what have you worked out works or doesn't work for you? I mean, obviously, but you know, in general.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much advice I can give since this is my very first, but what I do is, I guess my process is to, I'll have just sort of a flashbulb idea. Something that just pops into my head. I'll be listening to music, and just the way the atmospherics of, the way music can, provide that atmosphere. I start, okay, well, I can start doing characters, I need motivation, blah, 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 and then But it's all really fast, and so I just have this really quick scene that has no build up to it, no context. It's completely wacky, and nobody would understand it if I could somehow frame it and put it on a wall and show you. You'd be like, I have no idea what I'm seeing. So it starts from a flashbulb, just a quick thought, and then I go, okay, now justify that. And then I have my yellow legal pad, and I start fleshing out ideas. And then I'll write even dialogue along with that, because I'll get the idea going, like, okay, well, this character needs to flow with this kind of ideology, so what would they say in general about something? Okay, boom, and then I'll put that down. And then you just sort of kind of drill down and refine from there. And then I write it out, and I immediately hate it, and then I go back and try and rearrange it, and I say, screw it, you don't need to change it. And I come back and again and say, well, it is all shit. And then, so it's this great back and forth of just, it's terrible, quit, and well, come on, see it through to the end. Kind of, so I guess I'm just this weird sort of whirlwind of psychosis. Just, that's part of the process. But yeah, a lot of self-editing, immediate, which is a terrible thing to do, I know. But yeah, so it just goes from there.
All right. So I know in Stephen King's advice to a lot of writers that you have to write every day. Do you write pretty much every day, or or is it like bursts of inspiration?
Neither. I guess it's prescribed times. It'd be like, okay, it's Monday, and you got to work, So dedicate 5 to 6 hours of writing and really get this thing done. I'm not saying that's bad advice. It's just I'm not that kind of person, because I would need an instructor looking over my shoulder if I was writing every day, because then that's how you build bad habits. In my opinion, is that you start getting into an idea and then it becomes solidified, and it's like you never even once decided to critique that element just because you're just like, hey, I do this every day. It's part of my warm-ups. Maybe that'd be good to do every day, but not necessarily have those be in the final manuscript. But no, I don't write every day. I do. I'm always, I guess, in my head writing stories. Every time I hear a song that comes on the radio, or if I'm listening to anything like politics, I'm just sort of like wondering, like, okay, what would an average person, how would they react to this situation, or something like that, where it's just like this second nature thing. So I'm not writing it down, but it is there, and every now and again I guess I'll pull out my phone and go into the notes app and be like, okay, idea for story. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, speaking of warm-ups, this just occurred to me. But I know, like, Steinbeck, when he was doing East of Eden, would write a letter every day when he would start to one of his friends, and that was how he'd warm himself up to write whatever he was going to write for the day. Do you do that, or do you do some sort of warm-up thing, or do you just go in to your writing, like, cold?
With, not necessarily cold, but somewhat, I guess. With this collection, what I would do is I'd have something written down, and then I'd quit for the day, then come back to it, and then reread what I'd written. So just editing, I guess, is what I did for this collection. Okay. But in between projects, because I have work, I got other things I have to do, so I don't get to sit down and sort of like devise a plan. And every time I look something up, like, hey, here's great ways, things to help writers. They're always so, I don't know, too simple or too weird, or just not. My personality doesn't work with it. It's kind of difficult for me to find something where I'm comfortable doing it, Otherwise, it just feels like, okay, I'm writing contrived bullshit for no reason, and I don't really need, that. But I'd say just working with what I have, like that becomes the focus / obsession kind of aspect of it, where I just sort of, okay, if, what's a better warm-up than the thing that you're trying to sell to people, So that should be like your main focuses, I guess. Yeah. Just for me, I'm not saying that this has to be everybody.
Yeah. No, but I feel, it's good just to throw it out there.
And I'm totally open to trying new warm-ups or anything like that.
But I think even like, you have these great, like, whatever writing manual or, there's so many books out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually went through the same program at different times.
Yeah.
But throughout that, everyone's telling you how to write or what processes to do to write. And it's different for everybody. Like, things work for people and they don't work for others. there's always going to be that person who can just come in and blast something out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that wouldn't work for other people.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it's just interesting to, like, talk about it, I guess. A lot of people are kind of secretive about their writing process.
Oh, no.
Like, it's some sort of...
Mine's just, I'm not trying, it's not that I want to give you my blueprints. It's
Yeah.
just that it's so simple,
Yeah.
axiomatic, that I'm, like, afraid to, like, expose how simple it is.
I write it.
I write, and then I go back over and I say, that's good, I'll keep that, maybe, hopefully that works, fingers crossed.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So do you have any plans to work on anything else, or do you take
God.
breaks, like, between...
No, I don't want to. I just want to
just
go into the next
straight.
thing. I need to get more and more stuff out there and find that audience, you know. I really want to find a group of people. I don't care if it's 5 or 500 or 5,000. I just want to find somebody to entertain, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rock your world. I'm just trying to, you know, cure that boredom. So, but yeah, I'd love to go into, like, the next project immediately. Since I'm such a scatterman, I don't know which direction I want to go, so I'm kind of also, like, hanging back and, like, well, on this I want to see, like, what did well in this, you know. So I'm going to be reading all the reviews like I shouldn't, in hopes that somebody leaves a review like, I like this part and I didn't like this part. It's like, cool, okay, all right, I can write for that, all right, and get rid of that. That'll be perfect. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you gotta get a little bit of feedback, I guess,
yeah,
to know, like, okay, people hate that.
yeah, I don't want to do a whole book of, you know, crap that people hate.
Which I think any author is a liar if they say they don't care
Yeah.
about, like,
Oh no, are you kidding me?
whether or not it was
I already hear
received
the
well.
voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's art, I don't care.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
Lies. All lies. Like, even Stephen King's like, oh, no one liked Cujo, I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah.
I think so. Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
All right.
Thanks for the info.
Well, thank you, man. So, find it on Amazon. It'll be live. I'll put a link to it
Sweet.
down there. Water or Acid by Malcolm Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
It is delightful. Highly suggest reading it. And give him good feedback. You heard it. Leave good reviews. All right.